So we do a lot of assuming. Every conversation we're in, we're assuming to some degree that we know, that we understand. As you're watching this, you're priority assuming, well, duh, I already know what assuming is. You might have that mindset. The times you're not assuming, you're constantly learning and constantly just kind of like predicting the next everything though. You're always having this prediction of mind. If we weren't predicting anything, we wouldn't ever follow or understand anything in real time, more or less. We have to constantly be puzzling information. I don't want to get too rampage on the wrong direction. The key point of what I'm wanting to talk about today and address is how often we assume we know to one another. In reality, we just kind of like pretty clueless. I'll give you a few examples. You ever talk to someone and the conversation's going, and it's like a project. That'd be a better example. You're in like doing a project, and someone says, "Go get me a hammer," right? Well, what kind of hammer do you want? They're assuming you know, or maybe you're at a job site or a retail store, and the manager's like, "Go talk to the customer." There's a lot of assumption here, a lot of assuming. Oh, well, they know what to do. But how often do we have these moments and then the end result proves, well, you didn't really actually understand what I wanted. You understood the gist of maybe 2 or 3% of it, sometimes hopefully a little more, but you get what I'm saying. They say during conversations we understand about maybe 35 to 40% of a conversation, maybe if we're lucky 50%. But that whole other percentage is the whole assuming part. The whole, well, I think I understand, but do I understand? As time passes on, you start to realize, wow, I don't actually understand that much. And I'm not trying to say that we're naive or that we're stupid or anything along those lines. It's just what it is. We assume we know, so we don't follow in. We don't follow to pay attention. We are so accustomed to listen to reply instead of listening to understand that once it's all said and done, 10 minutes could go by and what was solved or what was understood was hardly anything of importance because you didn't really listen to it. You didn't really care to listen to it. I can almost guarantee you, if anyone got to this point of my video, you wanted to listen, you wanted to understand. But those who didn't really care, just be amused, entertained, probably maybe got 15 seconds in. Those people I don't want to deal with, I don't want to actually even talk to. They're rude in my opinion, they're a waste of my time, and they're a waste of your time. The reason why I say that is, not to be rude, you don't need those kind of people in your life. But at the same time, I'm making this video to hopefully bring more awareness to, well, I should actually pay attention, I should really focus, I should want to try to understand, not just be here to pass time. A lot of people in social settings, they're on their phones once they get bored. They're just kind of like passing that time. But then you start to realize, well, wait a sec, I'm better off by myself than when I'm with you. Why? Because my time's more beneficial when I'm by myself. And these kind of reality checks, these self-awareness realizations, you're starting to realize more of what I'm trying to say. People are constantly assuming they know and constantly assuming we're connected, constantly assuming I know you. Reality-wise, I don't know really much about anything to anyone in my personal life. That's kind of sad to actually have to state that as a reality. Is it my fault? Is it their fault? Who knows? All I do know is on my side of things, I can ask questions, I can try to get to know someone, I can ask questions to clarify. This is not assuming now. This is taking a proactive approach to hopefully gather information so then I get to say I know you. I feel like we're connected. This bridge of understanding is understood. Constantly we're just assuming and assuming and assuming, and we're assuming a reality that usually is actually pretty false once it's said and done. This video could be a little harsh for some, I understand, but if no one says it, we'll just continue living in this mind of, well, I'm connected to you, but I'm kind of not really. Because once I go to my room and I lay down at night, I respin the mind, reflect a little, I start realizing, what happened here? Did an assumption kind of take place again? I thought we were connected. I thought I understood them, but I didn't. Why? Because to take the conscious effort to connect, to really kind of gather information from someone. It's a lot of mental effort. It's a lot of just constant exchanging of information, constant awareness of alertness within the present moment. A lot of times for myself, I have to really hit on myself. I am not in the present moment. I'm just kind of in la la land, but it's kind of backing away because I started realizing, well, no one in the present moment really cares of me being presently there anyway. That's how I feel, so I'm going to go to myself. I do this subconsciously. It's sad that I have to train myself to do this just to entertain myself, to pass time. In school, this happens all the time. Teachers wonder why their students aren't paying attention. Are you engaging them enough? Are you asking them enough questions personally to get them interested? Reality-wise, you probably not if they're fading away. There's a lot of accountability on our side when it comes to actually really connecting. There's a lot of accountability on our side to actually not assume, by asking questions, by researching, by really actually fine-tuning our minds, our focus. If you want to really get to know someone, you can't just be in their presence. You have to, communicate. You have to ask deep personal questions that might just not be that normal type of thing, but you do it because, you know it's necessary. If you're a boss, a CEO of somewhere, what do you have to do? You have to ask very direct questions. What is our inventory on blah, blah, blah? What is the number of data statistics for if we do this? Even in that last sentence, you're assuming, but that's kind of analyzing predictions for the future. That's business, but you still need those fine details to really actually produce like proper data analyzing techniques. A lot of us reassume so much that honestly, if you can't tell, I'm a little disgusted by it. Once I started doing more research on this, I started realizing, wow, I assume all the time. Assuming is part of the human condition of living in reality. If we weren't assuming or gathering information from our past memories, we wouldn't really be able to connect to the moment. We wouldn't be able to connect to anything. So there is that healthy level of assuming, don't get me wrong, but we can't continue assuming we know someone unless we're really actually connecting and asking personal questions. We can't really continue assuming I understand what that person wanted if they never really clearly gave us a good description of what they wanted. Please understand, some of us, we have a difficulty expressing ourselves, but I'm going to challenge you with something. Begin learning how to express yourself by just trying to express yourself. You got to engage the mind and work different sections of your mind to actually grow this. I will not tolerate anyone with this mindset, well, I was made this way and this is who I am. If you look on my Facebook page, I actually have written in that, I am who I am for I was made this way, more or less. The truth of the matter is that's a very generalized statement and it's needed. I wrote that about 4 or 5 years ago, so I was kind of naive, a little not educated. I'm coming to learn and realize within just that statement is, yeah, you are where you are, but today, now you can change it. You can grow, you can extend yourself, you can expand the mind. You can expand your understanding and connection to anyone in your life by taking a proactive approach. Too many of us were just floating in life as though life is just going to come to us and do some magical thing. Me taking the time to make this video is doing what? I'm becoming proactive. I'm coming and sharing a little of what I know. And hopefully I'm not offending no one, because I know a lot of things in this video are very touchy, but I won't tolerate your feelings of, well, I make you feel bad so I can't say it. No, I don't care about that. I care about your feelings, but I care about the bigger picture. The bigger picture is we need to become more self-aware. We need to stop assuming and start getting to know and have difficult conversations, by conversations like this. And maybe this is enough for the day, but the key element I want you to really understand is, don't be afraid to talk and express yourself. Don't be afraid to engage, to just really take the time to ask deep questions. Yes, you don't want to offend someone, but at the same time, you can't be so self-cautious, or, well, I'm going to hurt their feelings, I'm never going to say a word. This is not healthy for yourself or for anyone. This is teaching the next generation that my words don't really matter that much. Because if I say something that might hurt someone, yes, words can kill. you do want to have compassion, you do want to have love, but you also have to be able to stand for what you believe and what you want and what you know is right. There's a fine line, and that's a whole other conversation. Continue going forward. Go after what you want in life. Say what you think, what you feel. Be considerate, but also be expressive. Don't be like the guy or the girl who's just kind of like on the back of things because you don't want to take any heat for something. Does this really tie into self-awareness? It does. Does this really tie into assuming? It does, because I only can assume what I think. What I mean is, if you're silent and you say nothing, I can only assume what you think. If you don't ever say anything, I will always only assume your reality, to the point my reality of you could be very false based off your own actions. You do have that accountability within your own choice of everything. Don't be the people that just assume. Be the people that take a proactive approach and do. No one's perfect. I can watch this video and learn a million lessons of my own mistakes within this video, but I can guarantee you this: I will choose to continue growing. As I'm growing and going forward, I'm going to realize, well, hey, yesterday I did this good, I did this horrible, but that horribleness allowed me to now have the self-awareness to now go into the future and become better. I can't assume I'm perfect. I can't assume any of that. That's just me assuming a false reality in reality itself. But by me going forward, by looking in the past, seeing my mistakes, seeing others' mistakes, seeing and learning the lessons, I can now go forward stronger, braver, more able to really actually do a lot. Hey, I hope this video has been helpful, and I hope this video hasn't been too you type thing, but the reality of the matter is, too many of us assume everything. Most people live in their mind, 90% of reality is all here, 10%'s out there, so you have to kind of like push it, so maybe one day we could say 40 or 50% is out there and the rest is in here. Why? Because we actually share, we actually care to share. But until that day, the reality is 90% is in here, and me seeing you have to assume all of that unless you share it. So share. Sharing is caring. Thank you.